This video is brought to you by Squarespace. If I said Captain Benjamin Sisko was returning to Star Trek in a new canon adventure, you'd likely call me crazy. Well, stick around, and you'll want to listen to this one. Recently, Star Trek media has gone carried away with Sisko. To a quick mention in the old timeline of Star Trek Picard Season 2, the Bajoran Reckoning Tablet, and now a brand new comic series fronted by the Sisko himself. It seems he's everyone's favourite captain right now, especially for creatives to play with. But might this hint towards a new series or something else? Welcome to Trek Central, I'm your host Captain Jack, and let's get straight into it. But before we do, let me just thank you for 100,000 total YouTube subscribers here on Trek Central. We unexpectedly passed it this week, so thank you all. We'll have some proper celebrations probably next week once we're past New York Comic Con, so stay tuned for that one, as this is going to be a busy week. Okay, engage. The wonderful people at Squarespace are sponsoring this video. If you're interested in making a website, Squarespace is for you, as it's the all-in-one platform for website design. You can pick from a professionally designed templates and upload your own content to personalize the designs. Pre-built layouts are a great way to kickstart your website. Adding layout pages gives you professional page designs that you can still fully customize. Now, one of our favorite features is using image galleries. We're always showing you the latest images from your favorite shows, and using Squarespace's inbuilt feature, we can display slideshow image strips or even grids on the same page. Getting social is important. Squarespace understands that and allows you to connect social media accounts such as Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and more. It's super simple and can be done via the dashboard. Check out squarespace.com for a free trial via the link in the description below. When you're ready to launch your website, make sure to use our link to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Okay, enjoy the video. So perhaps the Star Trek creators have played the long game regarding Benjamin Sisko's return to the Star Trek universe. We've had teasers related to the character for some time now. That includes the recently aired 6th episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, which does visit Deep Space Nine, and a direct mention of Sisko in Star Trek Picard. Oh, with Picard, they've also featured a Bajoran Reckoning Tablet. That same tablet appeared in Lower Decks Season 3 as well, perhaps hinting to Sisko's return. At the end of the day, these are only teasers of Sisko's return into the Star Trek universe. And how would this work with actor Avery Brooks? He's been absent from the acting scene for some time now. We'll look at that in a second, and just how he could return to the role of Benjamin Sisko if it were to take place. Right now, we've got an exciting new canon adventure for Sisko in comic book format. IDW Publishing, the official Star Trek comic series publisher, recently announced their new series is kicking off. This is the new monthly series, and it's centered around Benjamin Sisko following his return from the Bajoran wormhole. Yes, I highlighted both those words there, his return. And it's also canon. I'll explain in a sec. So Sisko's gonna work with other characters from the Star Trek universe for this brand new mission. We even see Data, and there is a hint of Worf as well. The comic series looks fantastic as Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly helm it. Kelly is the person who helmed recently concluded Star Trek Year 5 series, which saw a focus on Captain Kirk and the USS Enterprise. Now, what is interesting with his comic book series is that its lead writer, Jackson Lansing, has called the monthly series a Deep Space Nine sequel. Lansing also spoke in a lengthy interview with comicbook.com about the upcoming story, and interestingly, it takes place when no on-screen Star Trek show actually has taken place. Well, it's nicely set between the year-and-a-half time gap between the USS Voyager's return at the end of Star Trek Voyager and the start of Star Trek Nemesis. It seems a fair amount of things happen in this part, including Captain Janeway being promoted to Admiral, so perhaps we'll see her again as Admiral Janeway in this series. Now, that could be rather fun. Of course, the comic has no relation to what is going on in the Star Trek series, though Sisko is helming the USS Enterprise, which is an interesting idea. But this new IDW continuity will be building offshoots, spin-offs, and more epic events for years to come, according to marketing director Keith Davidson. I'm excited, are you excited? I can't wait to see what happens here. Even if it means nothing to what we're talking about today, it's still fantastic to get this sort of opportunity to explore more of Sisko. If you want to read our comic book reviews on Trek Central, head over to our website where our comic book master, Jacob, is publishing new reviews on the latest comics. Just today, we have published Star Trek Stargazer Issue 2. Go and read that one, it's a fantastic comic, and we've got a few theories popping up as well, so get reading. Now, as you heard, I just mentioned Keith Davidson, who's the marketing director for IDW. He mentions another detail when he compares Marvel Comics' Star Wars series, which did respect the canon and came before it while building a new exciting universe. He compares this to the Star Trek new series of comics with Sisko. Keep that in mind. The idea behind it is making it unique, unexpected, and accessible. And also play with canon when you've got people crossing timelines and Sisko commanding the Enterprise apparently is something we'll have to see later down the line. But I've got new information. Colin Kelly provided detail that might answer the canon question. It seems the big bosses of the Star Trek universe have given IDW the proverbial toy box of Star Trek, providing we put it back in the correct place for when Star Trek Nemesis takes place in the timeline. It makes sense and therefore respects canon as we know it. What about it being canon to the series and movies of Star Trek though? Well, Jackson Lansing provided details on this. Yes, the comic book series with Sisko is canon. Yep, it is canon, until it's not. So how does that work? Well, let me explain as you might be a little confused by what's going on here, and rightly so. As Jackson Lansing explains during the interview, they communicate with the Star Trek teams working on the shows. This would likely be Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks, and Star Trek Prodigy, perhaps even Discovery, but that is technically removed from the Nemesis era of the timeline right now. However, what about Picard? Well, with that series ending, likely the teams are disbanded right now, though Terry Matalas, who is the showrunner for Season 3, might have some creative input on it, or at least some communication. Maybe we can ask him soon. Now Jackson says something interesting here, so listen to this quote and we'll put it on screen now. But now we know that there will be, so we're trying to create new canon that exists inside the space. These are the characters you know. This is the canonical Benjamin Sisko sequel story. This is the last word of Data before Nemesis. These are those stories. This is what happened to Tom Paris after he came back from Voyager. The official synopsis of this comic book series reveals that Captain Sisko's actual story is about. Oh, he's also getting a new starship by the way, the USS Theseus? Thesaurus? I don't know. Image on screen now, and maybe Troy can stick a pronunciation guide for that ship on screen as well, because 100k subscribers and we're still bad at pronouncing things.
Just happened to have it on me, Theseus, but it seems to keep upsetting you.
Anyway, the synopsis reads as, it's Stardate 2378, and Benjamin Sisko has finally returned from the Bajoran wormhole, omnipotent, just like Q apparently. But his godhood is failing with every minute. Sent by the prophets on a mission to the deepest parts of space aboard the USS Theseus, he witnesses the unthinkable. Someone is killing the gods, and only Sisko and his motley crew of Starfleet members from every era of Trek can stop them. Can I just say, modern Trek loves to use the term motley crew. We had it describing Picard in Season 1, now it's describing Sisko's new crew. Looking at issue 2, Sisko is going to be teaming up with an old friend from Kronos, the Klingon homeworld. Yes, this is likely Mr. Worf, I'm thinking, as he will be ambassador to the Klingon Empire at this point in the Star Trek timeline. Suffice to say, this new series is championing the return of Captain Benjamin Sisko. However, does this now open up future opportunities? In the last decade, Avery Brooks has been absent from acting and the real world, it would seem. He has been teaching previously, therefore being away from the limelight of the Star Trek universe world. When filming for the Deep Space Nine documentary, What We Left Behind, Brooks declined to appear in the special feature after being asked by former Deep Space Nine showrunner Ira Stephen Bear. However, there might be reasoning for Brooks' absence from the acting world and the Star Trek universe. For that, we looked at actor Sir Lofton, who played Jake Sisko, son of Benjamin Sisko on Deep Space Nine. In 2020, he mentioned that Avery had been blacklisted by Hollywood and was currently without an agent or agency, therefore unable to get acting work. Now going further, Lofton suggested in 2021 that Avery Brooks will be willing to return to the role of Captain Sisko, if the opportunity presented itself. This is interesting to note, as it goes against what Ira Stephen Bear has previously mentioned, this being that he doesn't see Avery ever returning to the role of Sisko, or a Sisko sequel series ever taking place. Now time does change, so perhaps with the newfound love of Deep Space Nine and the character of Benjamin Sisko, Brooks is perhaps motivated to seek a return to the Star Trek universe. Again, ultimately time will tell if Avery does want to return to the public spotlight or acting, or appearing in Star Trek again. It's a daunting task, something some would not want to do. Many would want to see a new Captain Sisko series, right? Sadly, I don't think we'll ever be seeing Deep Space Nine Season 8 anytime soon. However, that does not stop Sisko from appearing somewhere else down the line. It is possible that Avery Brooks could reprise the role for an animated series, like Star Trek Prodigy or Lower Decks. He could also just cameo in a special appearance in one of these series as well. A limited Star Trek series is also something to note. Streaming services have had great success with these recently. I mean, Star Trek Picard is a limited series with just 3 seasons, as it took a lot of convincing for Sir Patrick Stewart to return as Jean-Luc Picard. A one-season storyline of Sisko, like 6 to 8 episodes, could do really well in explaining what he's doing once he returns from a wormhole. With many of the older Star Trek shows like The Next Generation and Star Trek Voyager getting their cast back together for new adventures, Fans rightly ask, when is it time for Deep Space Nine to get in on the fun? While it seems like it is happening with both Lunar Visitor and Armin Shimon appearing in lower decks, fans want the iconic and legendary Captain Benjamin Sisko. We can't blame them. And the other option, which would be a little bit controversial as a decision, is recasting the role of Benjamin Sisko. This can be done in two ways. If you want to explore the young years of Sisko, get a younger actor. Perfect. However, if we want to continue the story, like how Star Trek Picard has done, you don't want to recast the actor. It does depend on what creators want to do with their character. Ultimately, time will tell. Hopefully they don't recast, because that would be a little bit weird. So, the Star Trek universe is beaming down at New York Comic Con this coming weekend. And according to our resident leaker, aka the big Mr. T's himself, Terry Mattlers, we can expect plenty of updates on Star Trek Picard Season 3, which will include references to Star Trek Deep Space Nine. No, I don't think we'll be seeing Sisko popping up in Season 3's trailer, but never say never. Ultimately, if all of this is true, and Alex Kurtzman and executives have been playing the long game, could we see some sort of announcement at this upcoming show? It's perfect time to announce a brand new Star Trek series, as it's in front of thousands of people, if not tens of thousands of people, and also probably hundreds of thousands watching online as well. Therefore, this is a perfect time to announce if someone like Sisko would want to return to the Star Trek universe, or they're working on a project like that. It could be really cool. Again, we're covering New York Comic Con. If you want to watch it, tune in. It is this Saturday, or this whole weekend for Star Trek content actually, so we'll see you there. Right, Trekkies, what do you think? Can Benjamin Sisko return to the Star Trek universe? And should it be something to expect coming down the pipeline, or is it just a pipe dream? Time will tell, but would you want Avery back, or should they recast the role and just get on with it? Your choice. If you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore, and more, make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server. But for now, I've been Captain Jack. Thank you very much for watching. Live long and prosper, my friends. Goodbye.